If you missed yesterday's intense action in the NBA, you have come to the right place. Welcome to TV's Daily NBA Recap, where I recap yesterday's games in a short amount of time. Let's go. The first game I want to talk about is the Washington Wizards winning over the Boston Celtics 96-90. This is the Washington Wizards' first win in the bubble, going 1-7 to finish out their seeding games. Thomas Bryant, 26 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 steals, 2 blocks. A very ridiculous stat line. And for the Boston side of things, they didn't play most of their rotation players. I think only Enes Kanter and Brad Wanamaker are the two players that really do play in the rotation. But their leading scorer was Javonte Green. Yes, 23 points, 4 rebounds in this game. And, you know, it was a rough outing for the Wizards. We already knew it was going to be a disaster once Davis Bertans and Bradley Beal announced that they weren't going to be coming to the bubble. So we kind of expected this, but when you see the Suns doing so well, I mean, obviously the Suns are a better team, but when you see the Suns do well, you would just expect, like, you know, the Wizards get thrown a bone here or there, but they've played absolutely horrible in this bubble, and really all they have to really look forward to is next year, and hopefully John Wall and Bradley Beal are back healthy. On the Boston side of things, this doesn't really mean much. They didn't play any of their starters, and they're just preparing for the playoffs. So best of luck to them versus the Philadelphia 76ers, and let's move on. We move on to the next game, and we have the Sacramento Kings winning 122 over the Los Angeles Lakers behind a very good performance from Bogdan Bogdanovic, 27 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and also Buddy Hield, who caused some steering within the game when he talked about how his role was kind of diminished, and he seemed pretty frustrated about it, but he definitely showed up, scoring 28 points and grabbing 5 rebounds. On the Lakers side of things, their leading scorer was Dion Waiters off the bench with 19 points and dishing out 5 assists, and LeBron James, who played only 15 minutes but still managed to score 17 points. Again, Sacramento, one of those teams that really disappointed in the bubble. Obviously, didn't have Marvin Bagley in their lineup throughout the duration of the bubble, but they definitely were in some games, but they've had a really rough time. They're kind of like the Suns in the sense where I feel like they have really no direction, and it's going to be interesting to see, especially with Bogdan Bogdanovic being an unrestricted free agent, Buddy Hield voicing his displeasure at multiple points in the season, and to see like where they're going to go from here. On the Lakers side of things, like I said, LeBron only played 15 minutes. We knew that they were coasting, and whether they won this game or not really does not change anything. They're still the number 1 seed. They've locked it up for quite some time now, and they're ready to see who's going to win from the seeding games or the play-in tournament. We move on to the next game, and this game had a bunch of implications. The Phoenix Suns versus Dallas Mavericks, where the Phoenix Suns come up on top 128-102. Another fantastic game from Devin Booker, 27 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and just a good all-around scoring effort from the rest of his team. On the Dallas side of things, you had Boban Marjanovic, 18 points and 20 rebounds in this game. But Phoenix needed this win. They needed this win to stay alive, which sadly they weren't able to, even after going 8-0, which is highly unfortunate. I will be discussing more about them in my podcast later on today. But they did their job, and they really couldn't control what happened in the other games. But they went there, did their job. There's nothing to be ashamed about. Very, very good season for them. On the Dallas side of things, like I said, these matchups have been the playoff matchups have kind of been already like determined for a couple of days now. So whether they won or lost, I mean, it wasn't going to change that they were in the 7th seed. So I mean, Doncic played 13 minutes, good, 18 points, but doesn't really change anything. But the Dallas are looking forward to go into the playoffs next week. Next game, another game which had big implications. The Memphis Grizzlies winning 119-106 over the Milwaukee Bucks behind a massive triple-double from Jonas Valanciunas, scoring 26 points, grabbing 19 rebounds, and having a career-high 12 assists. Also, Dillon Brooks scored 31 points in this game, and John Morant, a triple-double. Not very good shooting night, going 5 for 17, but 12 points, 13 rebounds, 10 assists nonetheless. On the Bucks side of things, good performance from Brook Lopez, 19 points and 9 rebounds, and Frank Mason also chipped in 18 points and 8 assists. Memphis needs to win this game to guarantee their spot in the play-in tournament, and they did. Very much struggling in this bubble, going 2-6. Jaren Jackson Jr., that loss was absolutely massive and kind of derailed any momentum that they had. And I mean, they're able to come up big. I mean, it was obviously a lot of help because of Giannis' suspension due to the headbutt on Mo Wagner, but nonetheless, they had to do a job, and they absolutely did it. As a Raptor fan, it was great seeing JV have a big game like this. Just very happy for him to even get a chance to be in this play-in tournament. But let's be honest, we all wanted the Suns there, and the Grizzlies, after this tough bubble, it's going to be hard for them to face the team they're facing in the play-in tournament. But they did their job. They came out with the win, and let's see if they're going to be able to pull off the massive upset in the play-in tournament. We move on to the next game, and we have the Utah Jazz winning 118-112 over the San Antonio Spurs. And the sad thing about the Spurs here is that because both the Grizzlies and Suns won, they knew they didn't have a chance. So it was highly unfortunate that they had really nothing to fight for. On the Utah side of things, they had just a good all-around effort. Lots of guys I really haven't heard of. I mean, their leading scorer was Rajon Tucker, scoring 18 points. And their second leading scorer was some guy called Jarrell Brantley. So, I mean, I'm not very familiar with the college game, so maybe I haven't really seen these guys much, but the Jazz are just resting their guys, hoping to be as healthy as possible going into the playoffs. On the Spurs side of things, good game from Keldon Johnson once again, 24 points. And also off the bench, they got some good production from Bellinelli, and also Lucas Samanic, however you pronounce it, also got the start in this game, scoring 16. Unfortunately for the Spurs, their 22-year playoff streak has come to a close. I'll definitely get more into depth about that in my podcast later, but it's weird to see. It's definitely going to be weird to see the Spurs not in the playoffs. It's very weird. But I guess to put it short, I just know that they have the management and the ability, it just has a franchise to bounce back from this. So hopefully the Spurs can bounce back next year. And good luck to the Jazz going into the playoffs. We move on to the next game, and we have the Orlando Magic versus the New Orleans Pelicans, where the Magic come up with the win, 133-127. Again, a game that doesn't really matter. Pelicans are out, Magic are out, but you got to see some good performances from Vucevic, who scored 23 points, and also DJ Augustine scoring 22 points off the bench. The New Orleans Pelicans had good production from Frank Jackson, 31 points. Frank Jackson, 31 points. Nickeil Alexander-Walker had 29, and Josh Hart had 23 points and 14 rebounds. This is a much-needed win for the Magic. I just want to end off with that because they were on a 5-game losing streak coming into this game, and this is just, even though they're facing the Bucks, which is probably going to be a first-round sweep for sure, at least they have some sort of momentum. Maybe they could take one game off if they're lucky. I mean, they did to the Raptors last year, so maybe they could do it this year, but their team is just not good enough. Definitely struggled in the bubble, going 2 and 7. Oh, what am I saying? 2 and 6. But still, what a meaningless game. Doesn't really matter. And the Magic, good luck to the Bucks. I mean, it's going to be a tough one, but let's see if you're going to be able to pull off a massive upset, which they probably won't. We move on to the next game, and we have the Portland Trail Blazers versus the Brooklyn Nets, which had so many implications. But the Trailblazers were able to maintain their play-in seed with this win, winning 134-133. Behind Damian Lillard's phenomenal performance, 42 points and 12 assists, but that was very much counteracted by Caris LeVert's 37 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists performance as well. This game was really intense, especially when it started going to the third quarter. I mean, it was very back and forth in the first half. I mean, the Blazers kind of struggled, but they also kind of locked in. But when the third quarter came, the Nets really changed up their defensive strategy. They really just kept double teaming Damian Lillard once he crossed the half-court line, and the Trailblazers were struggling because they just didn't know how to react. Fourth quarter comes, and they kind of did a better job reacting to it. But Damian Lillard just kept trying so hard to kind of beat that double team. At one point, he hit a three-pointer from 2 feet just past the half-court line, which is absolutely crazy. And he had to do this type of things because the Trailblazers couldn't buy a bucket at times, and Lillard literally was just trying to, even just a sliver of hope, just a sliver of space, and he was going to let it fly, and then most of the time it went in. But the Trailblazers actually started helping out Dame. I mean, Nurkic had a really good fourth quarter. TJ hit that key bucket late in the game, and they were able to pull out the victory. On that side of things, they played very, very well. And it helps that Portland has one of the worst defenses I've ever seen. Like, just watching that game, like, the amount of times that they've gotten, like, just blown by, just attacked at the rim, like, and they couldn't even get the defensive rebounds. Like, they gave up so many offensive rebounds, it was just hard to watch. But they were able to pull it out. And, kudos to the Brooklyn Nets for actually really trying here. I mean, 37 points from Karis LeVert. He played absolutely fantastic. Joe Harris, 19 points. Timothy Uwawu-Kabru, who had a very good bubble, scoring 19. And also Tyler Johnson pouring in 16 off the bench. I mean, just a very good all-around effort. Even, like, Jared Allen, 14 and 11. They just had some good contributions all around. But the Blazers were able to eke it out. They were just able to ever so eke it out. Very, very intense. One of the most fun games I've watched the whole season. I mean, I wish I could talk about it more, but I just urge you to watch the highlights. It was just really crazy, especially the second half. So, yeah, very good game, and good luck to the Blazers in that playing tournament versus the Grizzlies. Thank you guys for listening to this recap. Remember to please like, share, and subscribe if you're on YouTube, and if you're on IGTV, remember to please leave a like, comment, and also leave a follow if you just discovered my page. So thank you guys for listening. I'll be releasing a podcast later on today, so watch out for that. And watch out on Monday for some great playoff content, as the playoffs are just around the corner. Thank you guys for taking out your day to listening to this, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.